Welcome to Black Diamond FM.
Thank you.
Saying to the listeners that you've just published your first novel called Moristoun, but you're no stranger to writing.
No, that's right. I've been working as a journalist pretty much since I was about 19 years old. I started out doing football match reports in the lower leagues of Scotland, and eventually worked my way up, and for about the last 10, 15 years I've been a sports journalist with the Daily Record and Sunday Mail and a few other publications. So, but this is the first time I've strayed into fiction, so it was a step in a different direction that I really enjoyed, doing something different than journalism for a change.
I understand that you actually had started a few books, but this is the first one that you have actually seen through to the very end, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I think a lot of people come up with the idea of writing a novel, but like most people, I kind of maybe got through about 2 or 3 chapters and then couldn't really go anywhere. There was one I did that was basically just kind of based on a title. It was called Mum's Gone to Iceland, and that was going to be about a guy whose parents, one of them was a real football fanatic, and he took his wife on a trip when his team played in Iceland, but he kind of neglected her so much that she actually stayed in Iceland and didn't come back with him. And the book was going to be about the son going to try and find his mum several years later, but I couldn't really see where I was going to end that. And there were 2 or 3 other ideas that I had where you would come up with an idea and start it, but you just kind of give up when you think, well, how am I going to end this? But with Moristoun it was different in that I came up with the ending first, and I was working my way backwards, so there was always something to work towards, and that kind of gave me the motivation to move forward and create this own little world around that, and how we actually led up to the moment that gave me the idea to start the book.
Well, that's right. I understand that you've got quite a quirky sense of humour, and a lot of the things that you've done, you've liked to explore humour. But the subject of this book is about suicide, and I just wondered what the motivation was for this book.
Yeah, to actually start off with, I hadn't actually been directly affected by suicide when I first started writing the book. I think looking back, it was probably something I saw on QI. They had a bit about suicide on QI, and it kind of got my mind thinking about what would happen to people afterwards. Because when the subject is suicide, a lot of the time the focus is really on the people left behind, the wives, the mothers, the children left behind. A lot of people don't really actually focus on what might happen to the person themselves. So I was quite keen to have this place where people would go after they committed suicide, and what would happen to them in the afterlife, and what adventures they would go on. And then by a strange kind of dark twist of fate, about 2 or 3 weeks after I started writing the book, one of my friends that I went to university with, she took her own life, and that really kind of came as a bolt from the blue, because you just weren't expecting it. And that kind of influenced me as I moved forward with the book, thinking about what kind of things would my friends be getting up to in the next life, and it kind of moved on forward from there. And then again, about 2 or 3 weeks after I finished writing the book, there was another suicide affecting me. It was a member of my extended family, so it's one of these topics that really touches everyone, be it a friend, a colleague, or even a celebrity that you might like. There's a lot of people there have taken their own lives. So as you say, it's quite difficult when you're trying to write in a humorous way. You don't want to offend anybody, and that was certainly something I had to tread very carefully with in the book, and hopefully I managed to stay on the right side of the line.
Because it's one of those kind of hidden subjects, and they say that, countries like Scotland and some of the other sort of Nordic countries are particularly affected by it, and it's not always the same kind of characters. I think your university friend was quite a bubbly, bright sort of person. It wasn't somebody that was, if you like, particularly morose or anything.
Yeah, that's the thing that it struck me a lot. one of the big things for me that came out of writing the book, that was one of the best things for me, is that I wrote an article about it in the Records, and I was contacted by a suicide prevention charity through an Airdrie, and I went down to visit them, and spent a day speaking with the people that volunteer there and people that actually use the service, and that was a real eye-opener. Again, you've got all sorts of people. I mean, one of the volunteers I spoke to said that she knew a doctor who you would never think of being at threat of suicide, one of the nicest people she'd ever met, and then he took his own life, and everybody was just devastated and couldn't work it out. So it is one of these ones that you don't really know until it actually happens sometimes. But a big thing for them is they were quite keen to break the taboo of suicide. They want to get people talking about it, and they want people not to bottle things up inside and to feel that they can't talk about the subject. So hopefully that will be one of the things the book achieves, is it gets the subject of suicide out there, and hopefully people can get in contact with the charity I mentioned and other places like the Samaritans if they are feeling down themselves, and that will help steer people away from that course of action.
A kind of a coincidence, there was a film on, I think it was BBC Two, called A Long Way Down with Pierce Brosnan, and it was about 4 characters that met on Hogmanay on the top of a building, all with the same thought in mind, but it was basically a comedy film after that. Yours is, as you said, is set in the afterlife in a kind of holding bay called Moristoun, and I take it the entire population are Scots. And why did you pick a Scottish island?
Yeah, basically, I wanted to really hold a mirror up to Scottish society in a way. I was writing that it started in 2012, so the build-up to the referendum was just starting. So it gave me the idea to try and have it only a place that would be populated by Scots, so it would really shine a light on what we are like and why we might be more predisposed to it than other nations. So I wanted to make sure that you got a chance to create your own world in the afterlife. You can make it more surreal, but I didn't really want to do that, because I wanted to make a point that if there was an island that was only populated by Scottish people, and they all come from different eras, from the 1700s, 1800s, right up to the modern day, that they would very much go about creating the same kind of society that we have just now. So I wanted them to have football fans arguing like Celtic and Rangers fans do. I wanted there to be, the pub would be the kind of central place where all the socialising would go on. So that was really one of the things that I hope to set out to achieve in the book.
Right, and you incorporated your interest in football. One of the, I thought, amusing things was that you made the lead character a season ticket holder at Albion Rovers. Now, that, you would have thought that would have driven anybody to suicide, but why Albion Rovers? Because you come from Dundee, and you live in South Lanarkshire.
Yeah. Well, Albion Rovers, really, I mean, the character's name was James Patrick McSorley, so he was always going to be predisposed to support either Celtic or Albion Rovers. I didn't want to make him a Celtic fan, because it was obvious when he got to Moristoun there was a kind of Celtic Rangers things going on there. So I just picked Albion Rovers because they were one of these teams that always seems kind of hard on their luck. So that was the reason I picked them. But football, although I've been writing about football a lot in my career, I wanted to try and incorporate that a bit in the book, but not too much. And as I say, I started writing in 2012, so that was when the Rangers' financial crisis was going on, and there was a lot of kind of bickering between the both sets of fans at the time about whether Rangers are still here, whether Celtic need Rangers. So in Moristoun, there's only 2 teams on the entire island. So if one doesn't exist, the other one can't play against anybody else. But when a similar kind of scenario arises in Moristoun, you've got fans of one team still wanting the other one to go out of business and not exist. even though that would mean that they would have nobody else to play with on the island at all. So it was one of these things that I wanted to throw in, but it was more just a product of the time I was writing it, which was when all this was going on back in real life Scotland, you know.
Yeah, I've got so far through the book, because I think I told you I had another one on the go, but one of the things I stumbled across was a website that had some of the locations, some of the pubs, information about the local council, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Do you see that as something that people should have a look at after they've read the book, or should they go online and have a look at that and see if it whets their appetite?
I think it can work in both senses. A lot of the time with I found the book websites, I looked at a few before I started doing my own, is that it can basically just be kind of vehicles for selling the book. I didn't really want to do that. I wanted to try and add to the experience of the book. So, as you say, if you go onto the website, which is www.moristoun.com, you can find more information about places that you read about in the book. And there's also a list of all the music that features through the book as well. So I wanted to try and enhance the reading experience. But you can read it certainly before you read the book, and I think you'll get more out of it if you read it after, but it's certainly a good way to introduce yourself to Moristoun if you're keen on it, but you're still not quite sure of what the world is, you know.
Right, and the choice of name, Moristoun, at first the thing that came into my mind was Burnstoun, which is a TV programme that I confess I've never seen, but I take it Moristoun, where did the name come from?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I'm a big fan of the show myself. I quite like the name. The big thing for me was trying to get a name that I was playing on, I think it's French or Latin phrase for death, which is Maurice, M-O-R-I-S. And then I wanted to merge that together with something that would sound very Scottish. So I just figured by sticking T-O-U-N on the end of it, you would get quite a Scottish sounding name.
Right, yeah, okay.
So that's kind of the reasoning behind the name, yep.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I get the impression the idea is the book is supposed to be entertaining, but also to address the very serious issue as well.
Yeah, well, that's the main thing. I mean, I think anything that I certainly set out to write, the first thing I try and achieve is just to entertain myself, really. I would write something that I would find interesting, and then hopefully other people would feel along the same way. With the book, I think I kind of set out trying to make it more a comedy to start off with. You certainly see that in the first couple of chapters, and then it becomes more of a philosophical and religious journey as the book progresses. I think it's important to try and, one of the things that I'm worried about, certainly as a parent of a young daughter, is that society is regressing in a way, and it's becoming people are becoming more isolated and more at risk of suicide, I would think, with the advance of technology, and people are basically spending all their time looking on phones and computers rather than socialising with people. So I wanted to make that point and bring it through, because in Moristoun itself, there's none of that technology. People converse and socialise in the same way as they did before. So you've got the newcomer to the island actually finds himself enjoying himself more and becoming more confident and more full of belief when he's taken away from technology and goes back to interacting with people face to face. So that was one of the points I hope to make for the book as well.
Right, you mentioned your young daughter. Is that going to hold you back writing a second book, or have you just got your one book out of the system?
Yeah, well, it has done so far a little bit. She's 3 years old, so she's started nursery now. I did start writing the second one a couple of months ago. It was a bit like the ones I was speaking about earlier, where I was not really seeing where I can end it, but I've come up with another idea for a second book now, in that I spent about 18 months living overseas in Thailand in 2002, 2003. So I've always wanted to write a book that would be set there, and I've come up with a kind of idea now where I've got an idea of an ending again. So I'm hoping that I can work backwards like I did with Moristoun and get that underway, but I just need to find the time now to sit down and write it, which is the hard thing.
So Moristoun's been out since, the end of March.
Yeah.
Where can people buy it if they want to get a copy?
Yep, most people so far have just been buying it off of Amazon, but it's on a list of other stores, which again, if you look at the Moristoun.com website, you'll be able to find all the links there. I'm also doing a book signing here in Glasgow on Monday at W.H. Smith in Sucky Hall Street, and I think a few other bookshops actually stock it as well. So, but if you go to the website, which is moristoun.com, then you'll be able to find all the links for it there.
Right. Oh, that's brilliant. No, I think it sounds very interesting. I will continue finding out what happens to Mr. McSorley and whether the Buchan, the solicitor, manages to get off the island eventually in due course. So thanks very much for joining us this morning and for persevering when we had a few technical problems, to say the least. And it's been a